Ever been told you don't belong somewhere, even when you absolutely do? That gut punch feeling when someone looks at you and decides your place before you've said a single word? Well, buckle up, because what I'm about to share isn't just another travel nightmare. This is the story of how 45 minutes on a delayed flight sparked a revolution that transformed an entire industry. And trust me, by the time we're done, you'll never look at air travel the same way again. It's a regular Tuesday afternoon at the airport. Gate 23. People scrolling through phones, grabbing last-minute coffee, fighting over outlet space. Nothing special. Just another flight to Chicago. But sometimes the most ordinary moments become extraordinary. Sometimes a single conversation changes everything. There's this guy standing in line. Gray hoodie, faded jeans, beat-up sneakers, leather briefcase that's seen better days. Could be anyone, right? Could be a college student heading home. Could be a freelancer going to visit family. Could be literally anyone in 2025. That's Marcus. And in about 3 minutes, his world, and the aviation industry's world, is about to explode. He boards the plane, walks down that narrow aisle, you know, the one where you're doing that awkward shuffle trying not to bump into people already seated. He finds his spot. First row, window seat. Slides in, puts his briefcase down, buckles up. Just wants to get to Chicago without drama. We've all been there, right? But then it happens. A flight attendant appears. Let's call her Sarah. She's got that look, the one that says she's already made up her mind about something. And she taps her tablet with this sharp little motion that somehow sounds louder than it should. Sir, you need to move to the back. Just like that. No, excuse me. No, I think there might be a mix-up. Just straight to you need to move. And here's the kicker, she adds. This section is for our premium passengers only. Now pause for a second. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you saw someone in first class get questioned about whether they belong there? When was the last time you saw someone in a business suit get asked to prove they paid for their seat? Yeah, exactly. Marcus doesn't snap. Doesn't raise his voice. Just looks up calm as anything, and holds out his boarding pass. Seat 1A. First class. Simple, right? Should be end of story. But Sarah? She narrows her eyes like he just tried to sell her a fake Rolex. Snatches the boarding pass, studies it like she's a forensic analyst, then hits him with, that has to be a mistake. Let me see your ID. And here's where it gets wild. Around them, passengers start noticing. Phones come out. You know how it is nowadays, something interesting happens, and suddenly everyone's a documentary filmmaker. Someone starts live tweeting. Someone else goes live on Instagram. This moment that Marcus hoped would be invisible? It's about to become the most visible thing on the internet. Sarah's colleague walks over. They start having this loud whisper conversation, the kind that's designed to be overheard. This gentleman seems confused about his seat assignment. That word, confused, with just enough condescension to make it sting. Like Marcus couldn't possibly understand the complex process of reading a boarding pass. Now Marcus could lose it right here. He'd be justified. Instead, he stays ice cold and pulls out his phone. Shows her the mobile boarding pass. Same seat. Same flight. Purchased 3 weeks ago. All the receipts. But Sarah's shaking her head. Sir, our records show you purchased an economy ticket. You'll need to move to your correct seat in coach. And then, I kid you not, some older gentleman in the row behind decides to be helpful. Leans forward and says, Son, maybe you should just take your real seat. No need to cause trouble. Let that sink in. Marcus is sitting quietly in his assigned seat with valid documentation, and he's the one causing trouble. Sarah nods along like this stranger just said something profound. Then she drops this gem. Are you sure you didn't mean to book coach? These mistakes happen when people aren't familiar with the booking process. The air gets thick. You could cut the tension with a plastic knife. Because everyone knows what's happening here. Everyone knows what people means. Everyone knows what not familiar with the booking process really means. But Marcus? He reaches into his briefcase, moving deliberately, like he's done this before, and pulls out a platinum airline card. Places it on the tray table. 340,000 miles flown with Atlantic Airways. Platinum status for 6 consecutive years. That should do it, right? That's not just proof, that's a resume. That's more miles than most people fly in a lifetime. But Sarah barely glances at it. Barely. Anyone can get those cards online now, sir. And there it is. The moment when it becomes crystal clear that no amount of documentation will matter. When Marcus realizes that his hoodie weighs more than his platinum card. When everyone watching realizes they're witnessing something that shouldn't be possible in 2025 but absolutely is. I'm going to need you to gather your belongings and move to your assigned seat. By now, that live tweeter? Her thread is blowing up. Hashtag Atlantic Airways Discriminations starts trending. The replies are rolling in faster than she can read them. This is insane. Record everything. Get a lawyer. This is 2025. How is this still happening? Then the captain shows up. Captain Rodriguez. Silver hair perfectly styled. Uniform pressed like he's about to inspect troops. 52 years old. Commands respect just by walking into a room. He takes one look at the situation, doesn't even glance at Marcus, and asks Sarah what's going on. Passenger in the wrong seat won't move to coach where he belongs. Where he belongs. Those 3 words carry the weight of centuries. Rodriguez sizes Marcus up in about 2 seconds. Hoodie, jeans, sneakers. His mind's made up. Sir, you're holding up departure. I need you to take your correct seat immediately. Marcus stays calm. Voice level. Captain, I'm in my correct seat. First class, 1A. Here's my boarding pass, my ID, and my frequent flyer card. Rodriguez doesn't look at any of it. Not a single glance. Son, I've been flying for 15 years. I know when someone's trying to scam an upgrade. Then he does it. He calls security. Marcus pulls out his phone and starts recording. For the record, it's 2:47 p.m. Flight 447. I'm being asked to leave my paid first-class seat despite having proper documentation. Sir, put that phone away, Rodriguez barks. You're being disruptive. I'm documenting discrimination. The word hangs there. Discrimination. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to acknowledge it. But it's out there now, captured on multiple phones, streaming live to thousands of people. Security arrives. 2 officers, let's call them Santos and Lisa. Santos is a veteran, been doing this for 20 years. He's seen enough airport drama to fill a library. He approaches carefully, professionally. Sir, can I see your boarding pass? Marcus hands it over without protest. Santos examines it. Compares it to Marcus's ID. Looks at the frequent flyer card. Takes his time. Does his job. This shows first class, seat 1A, Santos says slowly, looking at Rodriguez. Sarah jumps in. It's clearly fraudulent. He's trying to scam an upgrade. Santos turns to her, and you can see the skepticism in his eyes. Ma'am, these boarding passes come directly from your system. How would it be fraudulent? Sarah falters. Stumbles over her words. Then she says it, well, these people know how to manipulate the system. These people. The cabin goes silent. Even passengers who weren't paying attention look up. Because these people isn't subtle. It's not code. It's not ambiguous. Everyone knows exactly what she means. Santos meets Marcus's eyes. There's a moment of recognition there. Santos has heard those words before, knows their weight, understands what's really happening. Sir, Santos says carefully, would you mind stepping off the aircraft for a moment? Just to verify everything with the gate agent. It's reasonable. Respectful. Marcus nods and stands. As he gathers his briefcase, his phone buzzes. A text flashes briefly on screen. Board meeting moved to conference room A, emergency session. The woman sitting in row 3 catches a glimpse. She frowns. What kind of emergency board meeting would a supposed economy passenger know about? The departure board updates. Flight 447 delayed 23 minutes. Out in the terminal, a ground supervisor arrives. Janet Williams. 12 years with Atlantic Airways. Worked her way up from baggage handler. She's handled difficult situations before. She's confident she can handle this one. What's the hold-up? Santos hands her Marcus's documents. She examines everything with this theatrical thoroughness, holding papers up to the light, comparing photos, really putting on a show. Mr. Chen, these appear to be in order. However, given the crew's concerns about your behavior, I think it's best if we reseat you and coach for this flight. What behavior? Marcus asks, voice still level. I was sitting quietly in my assigned seat. You're being argumentative with the flight crew. I was providing documentation when they claimed I was in the wrong seat. Janet's face hardens. Sir, arguing with me won't help your cause. You can take a coach seat or you can take the next flight. Those are your options. Back on the plane, that live streamer's video has gone nuclear. 1,500 viewers and climbing. The hashtag's trending nationwide. Comments are flooding in, save this video as evidence. What's his name? He needs a lawyer. Atlantic Airways stock is going to tank. Other passengers from the flight have come out to watch. Several are recording. A teenager's streaming on TikTok. A businessman's updating LinkedIn. This small airport drama has become a viral sensation in real time. Marcus checks his watch. It's expensive, really expensive, and Janet notices. More expensive than her monthly salary. Sir, I need your decision. Coach seat or next flight? May I speak with your district manager? Janet actually laughs. The district manager? Sir, I'm the senior supervisor on duty. I have full authority here. I understand your position. However, I'd like to escalate this to your district manager. You can file a complaint online like everyone else. Some first-class passengers have come out to watch now. That woman from row 3, Dr. Patricia Voss, steps forward. Excuse me, but I was on that plane. This man was sitting quietly in his seat. He showed his boarding pass, his ID, everything. Why exactly is he being removed? Ma'am, this is between us and Mr. Chen. Please return to your seat. I'm a paying customer too, Dr. Voss shoots back. And I'm witnessing what appears to be discrimination. A businessman joins her. I saw the whole thing. The flight attendant never properly checked his documents. She just assumed he was in the wrong seat. Janet feels control slipping. More passengers are gathering. Phones everywhere. She needs to shut this down. Sir, you can take the coach seat I'm offering, or you can leave the airport. Those are your only options. Marcus pulls out his phone. Makes a call. It's brief, 47 seconds. His voice is too quiet for most people to hear, but Dr. Voss catches fragments. Board meeting, conference room A now. She frowns. Board meeting? Marcus ends the call and addresses the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for this delay. I know you all want to get to Chicago on time. His tone has changed. More authoritative. Several passengers notice. Janet senses something shifting. Sir, who are you calling? My office. Your office. Marcus reaches into his briefcase. Pulls out a business card holder. Selects one card with deliberate precision. Hands it to Janet. She reads it. Her face goes pale. Marcus Chen. Chief Executive Officer. Chen Industries. The crowd presses closer. Dr. Voss reads over Janet's shoulder and gasps audibly. Oh my God. The businessman whips out his phone. Starts Googling frantically. His eyes widen. Holy shit. Chen Industries, they're worth billions. That live streamer catches the exchange. Wait. Did someone just say billions? Chat, what's happening? Who is Chen Industries? Her viewers are already researching, flooding the comments. Chen Industries just announced $2.4 billion in revenue. They own like 847 companies. This guy isn't just some random passenger. Atlantic Airways is about to get destroyed. Janet stares at the business card. Her hands are shaking now. Mr. Chen, this doesn't change anything. You were being disruptive. But her voice has lost all conviction. Marcus checks his watch again. In about 3 minutes, you're going to receive a call from your headquarters. I suggest you answer it. What kind of call? The kind that comes from your board of directors. The crowd's grown to about 30 people now. Airport security is trying to manage things, but the live streams keep multiplying. The hashtag has over 2,000 tweets. Captain Rodriguez appears, looking flustered. What's going on? We need to depart. Santos fills him in quietly. Rodriguez's expression changes as he listens. CEO of what? Chen Industries. Major corporation. Billions in revenue. Rodriguez looks at Marcus with completely different eyes. The hoodie doesn't look casual anymore. It looks like confidence. It looks like someone who doesn't need to impress anyone. Janet's radio crackles. Supervisor Williams, please contact headquarters immediately. Priority 1. She looks at Marcus. He checks his watch again. Right on schedule. Dr. Voss steps closer. Sir, I'm sorry this happened to you. This is completely unacceptable. Thank you. But this isn't about me anymore. What do you mean? Marcus looks around. At the crowd, at the recording phones, at the security officers trying to manage a situation that's spiraled beyond their control. This is about making sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. That live stream hits 3,000 viewers. Major news outlets are picking it up. Atlantic Airways' stock price, stable all day, drops 1.2% in 15 minutes. Janet's radio crackles again. Supervisor Williams, CEO Patricia Vance needs to speak with you immediately. She looks at Marcus, then at the business card, then at 30 witnesses recording everything. This is about to get very interesting, Dr. Voss mutters. Marcus opens his briefcase, pulls out a folder. Inside are documents that will change everything. Actually, he says to Janet, there's something else you should know. The crowd leans in. Everyone senses that whatever comes next is the moment everything truly changes. Marcus's phone buzzes. Board assembled. Awaiting your call. He looks up at Janet, at Rodriguez, at Sarah who's joined them from the plane. Shall we discuss this inside? I think you're going to want privacy for this conversation. Now, you might be thinking this is where Marcus tears into everyone. Where he screams, threatens lawsuits, demands people get fired. But here's what makes this story different. Here's what makes it powerful. Marcus doesn't yell, doesn't threaten. Instead, he transforms the entire gate area into a classroom. The crowd has grown even larger. People sitting in chairs, standing against windows, leaning on pillars. 4 different live streams running simultaneously. Marcus stands calmly in the center, briefcase open, documents arranged methodically on a nearby chair. Ladies and gentlemen, he begins, voice carrying easily, I want to apologize for the delay. I know many of you have connections to make, families to see, business to conduct. Janet stands frozen. CEO Patricia Vance's number glowing on her phone. She hasn't called back yet. Before we resolve this situation, I think everyone deserves to understand what's really happening here. He pulls out a leather portfolio. Opens it. The first document is a stock ownership certificate. 6 months ago, Chen Industries acquired a 23% stake in Atlantic Airways. The words hit like a physical force. Gasps. Curses. Someone says, no way loud enough for everyone to hear. Rodriguez steps forward. That's impossible. I would have heard about a major acquisition like that. Marcus looks at him calmly. Captain Rodriguez. 15 years with Atlantic Airways. Excellent safety record, by the way. I've reviewed your file. Rodriguez goes white. You've reviewed my file? Chen Industries reviews all key personnel files for companies in our investment portfolio. Standard due diligence. Sarah, lurking at the edge of the crowd, suddenly understands the magnitude of what just happened. She discriminated against someone who effectively owns nearly a quarter of the airline. Dr. Voss lowers her phone slightly. Mr. Chen, are you saying you own part of Atlantic Airways? 23%. Which makes Chen Industries the second largest shareholder. He pulls out another document. Atlantic Airways fiscal year 2024. Total revenue, $8.2 billion. Chen Industries investment, $1.9 billion. That businessman from first class is frantically taking notes. This is incredible. This guy isn't just wealthy. He's one of the owners. The livestream comments explode. He owns the airline. Best plot twist ever. They're so screwed. Someone's getting fired in real time. Marcus reaches into his briefcase again. There's more context you should have. He produces a thick folder. Chen Industries books approximately 847 flights per year with Atlantic Airways. Our annual travel expenditure with this airline, $1.2 million. Janet finally finds her voice. Mr. Chen, I had no idea. Of course you didn't, Marcus interrupts gently. That's the point. A customer's treatment shouldn't depend on their net worth or position. It should be consistent and respectful. He opens the folder, pulls out several pages. My personal account with Atlantic Airways. Platinum status for 6 consecutive years. 340,000 miles flown. Last year alone, I took 63 flights with this airline. Rodriguez is staring at the documents like they might disappear. Sir, we had no way of knowing. Captain, that's exactly the problem. You made assumptions based on my appearance. You never checked my credentials. You called security without verifying facts. Sarah's voice comes out barely above a whisper. Mr. Chen, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. Sarah Mitchell, Marcus says, consulting a document. 8 years with Atlantic Airways. Generally positive performance reviews. 2 customer complaints in your file, both involving passengers of color. The implication hangs there like a blade. Dr. Voss steps closer. Mr. Chen, what happens now? Marcus checks his watch. In about 90 seconds, Janet's going to get another call from headquarters. Because right now, there's an emergency board meeting happening at Atlantic Airways. On cue. Literally on cue, Janet's phone rings. Caller ID, Patricia Vance, CEO. Marcus nods to her. You should take that. Put it on speaker. Janet's hands shake as she answers. Miss Vance. Janet, is Marcus Chen with you? Yes, ma'am. Put him on the phone. Now. Marcus steps forward. Hello, Patricia. Marcus, I just got out of an emergency board meeting. What the hell is happening at Gate 23? The crowd presses closer. This is better than any movie, any TV show, any scripted drama. Patricia, I'm on Flight 447 to Chicago. I was denied service and removed from my paid first-class seat due to what I can only characterize as racial discrimination. Silence on the other end. Then, please tell me you're joking. I'm afraid not. The incident has been live-streamed by multiple passengers. It's trending on social media. Your stock is down 1.4% in the last hour. Jesus Christ. Marcus pulls out his phone. Shows the screen to the crowd. Multiple social media feeds visible. The hashtag trending. Real-time evidence. Patricia, are you familiar with Section 12.3 of our shareholder agreement? Pause. The material incident clause? Correct. Discrimination against passengers constitutes a material incident that triggers a governance review. Dr. Voss whispers to the businessman, he's not just complaining. He's activating legal procedures. Marcus, Patricia's voice comes through the speaker. What do you need? First, I need your flight crew to understand they've created a significant legal and public relations crisis for Atlantic Airways. Rodriguez stares at the phone like it might explode. Second, I need immediate corrective action that demonstrates Atlantic Airways' commitment to equal treatment of all passengers. Whatever you need. Marcus looks around, at the crowd, at the phones, at Janet's pale face, at Sarah who looks like she might pass out. And third, Patricia, I need you to understand that this isn't about me. It's about the thousands of passengers who experience discrimination every year but don't have the resources or platform to fight back. The crowd goes completely silent. Even the livestream comments slow down as people absorb what they're witnessing. Marcus, I'm authorizing whatever actions you deem appropriate. Full authority. Thank you. I'll have recommendations within the hour. He ends the call. Looks around the gate area. 50 people staring at him. Multiple live streams broadcasting to thousands more. There's one more thing you should know. He reaches into his briefcase. Pulls out a final document. This one's different, more official, with signatures and seals. Last year, Atlantic Airways received an anonymous donation of $500,000 to fund diversity and inclusion training. He holds up the document. The donation came from the Chen Foundation. My foundation. The revelation hits like thunder. Sarah actually gasps audibly. I've been trying to help this airline improve its culture for over a year. Today I experienced firsthand why that help is desperately needed. That live streamer's voice comes through her stream. Are you getting this? This man has been trying to help the airline, and they discriminated against him. This is unreal. Marcus closes his briefcase with deliberate precision. Now, shall we discuss how to ensure this never happens again? What happens next isn't just damage control. It's a masterclass in systematic change. Conference Room A at Atlantic Airways headquarters, normally boring, normally just quarterly reviews, has become crisis central. CEO Patricia Vance sits at the head of a mahogany table, surrounded by 8 board members, lawyers, senior VPs. The room's video wall shows 3 feeds. The live stream from Gate 23, Atlantic Airways' stock chart showing steady decline, Twitter analytics tracking the hashtag. Patch Mr. Chen through to the main screen. Marcus appears on the 75-inch display. Still at the gate. Janet beside him. Crowd still gathered. Phones still recording. Marcus, you have the floor. But here's what's brilliant. Marcus has positioned himself so the crowd can hear both sides of the conversation. This isn't going to be a private settlement. This is going to be transparency in real time. Thank you, Patricia. Before we discuss solutions, I think the board needs to understand the full scope of what happened here. He gestures to Sarah. Ms. Mitchell, would you please tell the board what you said when you first approached me? Sarah's voice barely audible. I told you that section was for premium passengers only. Despite you holding a first-class boarding pass. Yes. And when I showed you my platinum frequent flyer card, I said anyone could get those cards online. A board member leans forward. Ms. Mitchell, what made you assume Mr. Chen's documents were fraudulent? The question hangs there. Sarah looks around desperately. Marcus answers for her. I'll save Ms. Mitchell the discomfort. She made assumptions based on my appearance. A black man in casual clothes couldn't possibly belong in first class. Patricia rubs her temples. Marcus, what are your immediate demands? Let me present the facts first, then we'll discuss solutions. Marcus pulls out his tablet, connects it to his phone's hotspot. Within seconds, he's screen sharing with the conference room. Atlantic Airways financial performance, Q4 2024. Total passengers, 47.2 million. Customer satisfaction rating, 3.2 out of 5. Industry average, 3.8. Board members taking notes furiously. Discrimination complaints filed with the Department of Transportation against Atlantic Airways in 2024, 147. That's 43% higher than industry average. Patricia's face is grim. Because your complaint resolution system is designed to discourage reporting, not encourage it. Another slide. Chen Industries annual travel spending breakdown. Atlantic Airways, 1.2 million. American Airlines, $800,000. Delta, $650,000. The implications are crystal clear. Atlantic Airways is getting the largest share of a multi-million-dollar corporate travel budget. However, given today's incident, Chen Industries will be reviewing all vendor relationships for alignment with our corporate values. A board member speaks up. Mr. Chen, what would constitute appropriate resolution from your perspective? Marcus looks around the gate area. At the passengers. At the live streams. First, immediate termination of all personnel involved in discriminatory actions. Sarah's knees buckle slightly. Rodriguez closes his eyes. Second, implementation of comprehensive bias training for all customer-facing staff within 30 days. Patricia nods. Agreed. Third, establishment of an anonymous reporting system for discrimination incidents, managed by a third-party organization. Also agreed. Fourth, creation of a $500,000 fund dedicated to diversity and inclusion initiatives. Board members exchange glances. Significant but not catastrophic. And fifth, a public apology from Atlantic Airways acknowledging systemic failures in equal treatment of passengers. Patricia pauses. Marcus, a public apology could expose us to significant legal liability. Patricia, your current legal liability is already significant. There are approximately 4,000 people watching this conversation live. Your stock has dropped 2.1% in 2 hours. Your choice is between controlled transparency and uncontrolled crisis. Legal counsel whispers in Patricia's ear. She nods grimly. All conditions accepted. The crowd at the gate erupts in applause. The livestream comments explode with celebration. But Marcus isn't finished. There's one additional requirement. Real-time implementation. Not promises. Not future commitments. Changes implemented within 72 hours. That's impossible, protests the VP of Operations. Union agreements, legal reviews, system updates. Marcus interrupts. When weather emergencies require rapid schedule changes, you can reorganize your entire system in 6 hours. When you have the will, You have the way. Patricia leans back. What specifically do you need in 72 hours? Ms. Mitchell and Captain Rodriguez terminated within 24 hours. Replacement training materials developed and deployed within 48 hours. Anonymous reporting system operational within 72 hours. And if we can't meet that timeline? Marcus looks directly into the camera. Then Chen Industries will divest our Atlantic Airways holdings and recommend that our network of partner companies do the same. The threat is devastating. Chen Industries isn't just a large investor. They're connected to dozens of other corporations collectively representing millions in annual travel spending. A board member asks, Mr. Chen, how do we know these changes will be sufficient? You don't. But you'll have quarterly reviews with independent auditors to track progress. Full transparency. Public reporting. Patricia looks around the conference room. Board members nodding. Legal teams scribbling frantically. Stock price continuing its decline. Marcus, we accept all conditions. The crowd erupts again. Some passengers wiping away tears. Dr. Voss shaking her head in amazement. But Marcus still has one more card to play. There's one final element. Personal accountability. Patricia's expression tightens. What do you mean? Executive compensation should be tied to diversity and inclusion metrics. Starting with your compensation, Patricia. 20% of executive bonuses tied to measurable improvements in equal treatment outcomes. Quarterly assessments. Public reporting. The conference room goes dead silent. Patricia stares at the screen for a long moment. 8 board members waiting for her response. Agreed. Marcus nods. Then we have a framework for moving forward. He looks around the gate area one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize again for the delay. However, I hope you can see that sometimes delays serve a greater purpose. Sustained applause. Janet steps forward. Mr. Chen, what happens now? Marcus smiles for the first time since this began. Now, Janet, we fix the system. And we make sure every passenger is treated with dignity and respect. He looks back at the camera. Patricia, I'll expect the implementation timeline by email within 4 hours. You'll have it in 2. Marcus closes his tablet. Picks up his briefcase. Now, I believe Flight 447 was supposed to depart 45 minutes ago. Shall we get these passengers to Chicago? The transformation is immediate. Janet issuing instructions. Sarah being escorted away by airport security. Rodriguez having his credentials reviewed. A new flight crew already being assembled. The live streamer addresses her audience. Chat, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. One man just changed an entire airline's policies in real time. As Marcus finally boards, seat 1A, first class, Dr. Voss leans over from 3B. Mr. Chen, that was incredible. How did you stay so calm through all of that? Marcus settles into his seat. Opens his laptop. Dr. Voss' anger is temporary. Systems change is permanent. I'd rather build something lasting than just vent frustration. The plane pushes back from the gate. 53 minutes late. But carrying more than passengers to Chicago. Carrying the promise of change. 71 hours later, yes, just under that 72-hour deadline, Marcus sits in his Chicago office reviewing implementation reports. The termination letters were executed yesterday. Sarah Mitchell and Captain Rodriguez dismissed with cause. Janet Williams demoted to training coordinator, undergoing mandatory sensitivity counseling. New crew training materials went live that morning. Every Atlantic Airways employee completing 8 hours of bias recognition training within 30 days. The anonymous reporting system launched at 6 a.m. Marcus's phone buzzes with a news alert. Atlantic Airways stock rebounds after swift discrimination response. Shares up 3.2%. The market responded positively to decisive action. Investors appreciate companies that address problems quickly rather than letting them fester. Patricia Vance appeared on CNBC that morning announcing the Dignity in the Skies initiative. The interview was watched 847,000 times in 6 hours. Mr. Chen's experience was unacceptable, she said directly to the camera. But his response showed us how to turn a failure into an opportunity for meaningful change. The anonymous reporting system had already logged its first complaint, a passenger on Flight 892 reporting discriminatory treatment by ground staff in Denver. The complaint being investigated by a third-party firm within hours, not weeks. Marcus's computer chimes with an incoming video call. Patricia Vance appears, looking considerably more relaxed than 3 days ago. Marcus, I wanted to give you the first quarterly report personally. She shares her screen. Comprehensive dashboard of metrics. Discrimination complaints down 67% in just 3 days. Customer satisfaction surveys show marked improvement. Most importantly, we've had 12 employees proactively report bias incidents they've witnessed. Marcus leans back. That's the real victory, Patricia. When employees feel empowered to speak up. The training program has been requested by 6 other airlines. We're licensing it through a nonprofit with proceeds funding diversity scholarships. Excellent. What about the executive compensation metrics? Patricia smiles. Board approved unanimously. 20% of all suite bonuses now tied to diversity and inclusion outcomes. First quarterly review is next month. Marcus pulls up his own metrics. Atlantic Airways is back to being our preferred airline partner. Chen Industries will increase our travel spending by 15% this quarter. That's wonderful news. Marcus, I have to ask, how did you know exactly what levers to pull? Marcus considers the question. Patricia, I've been discriminated against before, but I've also been in boardrooms for 20 years. I understand how corporations make decisions. The key is aligning moral imperatives with business incentives. The whole incident has become a Harvard Business School case study. They're calling it stakeholder activism in real time. After ending the call, Marcus walks to his office window overlooking Lake Michigan. The view reminds him why he loves Chicago, a city built by immigrants and outsiders who refuse to accept limitations. His phone rings. Dr. Patricia Voss. Mr. Chen, I hope you don't mind me calling. I got your number from your foundation's website. Not at all, Dr. Voss. How can I help? I wanted to tell you that what you did inspired me to take action in my own workplace. I'm head of emergency medicine at Northwestern Memorial. We've had our own issues with bias in patient treatment. I presented your Atlantic Airways case to our board last week. Marcus smiles. What was their response? We're implementing a similar anonymous reporting system for bias incidents. We're requiring all staff to complete unconscious bias training. Your approach, using data and systematic change rather than individual blame, really resonated. That's exactly what needs to happen. One incident becomes a catalyst for broader change. The medical community is calling it the Chen Protocol, using documented discrimination incidents to drive institutional reform rather than just individual punishment. After hanging up, Marcus reviews broader impact metrics his team compiled. The hashtag Dignity in Skies used 47,000 times across social platforms. But more importantly, it spawned 12 copycat initiatives at other transportation companies. Greyhound announced their own bias training program. Amtrak hired a chief diversity officer. 3 major hotel chains implemented anonymous reporting systems. His assistant brings in a stack of letters from passengers who experience similar discrimination. Each letter shares a story. Thanks, Marcus, for speaking up. Many include documentation of their own incidents. One letter stands out. From a young Black woman named Angela Thompson, recent MBA graduate. Mr. Chen, I was on United Flight 237 last month and experienced almost identical treatment to yours. But I didn't have your resources or platform. I just endured it and filed a complaint that went nowhere. Watching your live stream showed me that discrimination doesn't have to be accepted silently. I'm now working with the ACLU to document systematic bias in airline treatment. Thank you for showing that change is possible. Marcus adds Angela's letter to a growing file. Her case will become part of a larger class action lawsuit that will ultimately force industry-wide changes. The true measure of success isn't just Atlantic Airways reforms. It's the ripple effect across an entire industry. 3 months later, the Department of Transportation announces new federal guidelines requiring airlines to track and publicly report discrimination complaints. The regulations are nicknamed the Atlantic Airways Rules after the incident that sparked them. Transportation Secretary calls Marcus. Your Atlantic Airways case provided the political momentum we needed to implement comprehensive anti-discrimination regulations. 6 major airlines have already adopted your recommended protocols voluntarily rather than wait for federal mandates. The Chen Foundation expands its focus to transportation equality, funding legal representation for passengers facing discrimination. In 6 months, they support 43 cases across airlines, bus companies, rideshare services. Marcus often reflects on the moment when Sarah first told him to move to the back of the plane. That single incident of discrimination became a catalyst for systematic change affecting millions of travelers. But the most satisfying outcome is personal. Last month, Marcus flew Atlantic Airways Flight 447 again. Same route, same aircraft type. The flight attendant, a young black man named David, welcomed him aboard with genuine respect. "Mr. Chen, it's an honor to have you flying with us today. Is there anything I can do to make your flight more comfortable?" Marcus looked around the first-class cabin. Noticed the diversity of passengers. Different races, ages, clothing styles, all being treated with equal professionalism and respect. "David, you're already doing everything perfectly." That was the real victory. Not the corporate policy changes. Not the media attention. Not the stock price recovery. The simple fact that the next passenger who looked like Marcus, or didn't look like him, would be treated with dignity. The system had changed. 2 years after Flight 447, Marcus Chen stands at the podium of the National Civil Rights Museum in Memphis, delivering the keynote address for their annual Transportation Equality Summit. The auditorium is packed. 800 attendees, airline executives, civil rights lawyers, government officials, activists. But Marcus can see beyond the crowd to millions watching the live stream. Change doesn't require violence, he tells the audience. It doesn't require lawsuits or protests or public shaming. It requires documentation, leverage, and systematic thinking. He clicks to his first slide, a graph showing discrimination complaints across all major airlines. Since the Atlantic Airways incident, airline discrimination complaints have dropped by 71% industry-wide. Not because discrimination disappeared overnight, but because airlines implemented systems to prevent it. The graph shows dramatic declines starting late 2025, continuing through 2026 and into 2027. This is what happens when you change systems instead of just punishing individuals. The audience includes Sarah Mitchell, the former flight attendant who triggered the entire incident. After her termination, she underwent extensive bias training and now works as a diversity consultant, helping other companies avoid the mistakes she made. She raises her hand during Q&A. "Mr. Chen, I'm Sarah Mitchell. I was the flight attendant on Flight 447. A murmur goes through the crowd. "This is unexpected." "Sarah," Marcus says warmly, "thank you for being here. I wanted to publicly apologize again. But more importantly, I wanted to thank you. Your response changed my life. I understand now how my unconscious biases hurt people. I've spent 2 years learning to be better." The crowd erupts in applause. This is the real power of systematic change. It can transform perpetrators into advocates. "Sarah, your courage in facing your mistakes and working to prevent others from making them is exactly what this movement needs." Marcus clicks to his final slide. A photo of Angela Thompson, the young woman who wrote to him after her own discrimination experience. Angela Thompson used documentation and legal advocacy to win a landmark settlement against United Airlines. That settlement funded bias training for 47,000 airline employees across the industry. The audience stands and applauds as Angela walks onto the stage. Angela's case proved that you don't need to be a CEO or major shareholder to create change. You just need to be willing to document injustice and demand accountability. Marcus looks directly into the livestream camera. Every person watching this has experienced unfair treatment or witnessed it happening to others. Your stories matter. Your documentation matters. The livestream chat flows with personal experiences, commitments to action, expressions of gratitude. If you've witnessed discrimination in transportation, document it. Record it. Report it. Share your stories. Because these stories become the foundation for systematic change. Marcus concludes with a direct challenge. Don't just watch injustice happen. Don't just feel bad about it. Do something about it. Use the tools we've developed. Use the systems we've built. Help us create a world where everyone travels with dignity. The screen displays the Transportation Equality Foundation's website and reporting tools. Share this video. Tell your friends about these resources. Stay informed about our progress. Because together, We can ensure that what happened on Flight 447 was the last time, not just another time. The crowd rises in a standing ovation. The live stream tops 100,000 viewers. The hashtag trends worldwide. And somewhere in some airport on some flight, a passenger who looks like Marcus, or doesn't look like Marcus, sits down in their assigned seat without being questioned. That's the real ending. Not dramatic. Not flashy. Just simple human dignity. That's the world Marcus built. One documented incident. One systematic change. One flight at a time. So here's my question for you. What would you have done in that gate area? Would you have pulled out your phone? Would you have spoken up? Would you have just looked away? Because here's the truth. Change doesn't happen because of one CEO with resources. It happens because of everyone with phones who decided to record. Everyone who decided to speak up. Everyone who decided that silence wasn't an option anymore. Marcus showed us the blueprint. Documentation. Leverage. Systematic thinking. But the real power? That's in your hands. Next time you see discrimination, at an airport, in a restaurant, at your workplace, what will you do? Will you just watch? Or will you be part of the change? If this story moved you, if it challenged you, if it inspired you, don't just hit like and move on. Share this. Talk about it. Make it part of conversations at your dinner table, in your workplace, in your communities. Because Marcus didn't just change one airline. He showed us how to change systems. And that blueprint? It works everywhere. Hit that subscribe button if you want more stories about ordinary people creating extraordinary change. Because this is just the beginning. The revolution doesn't start with billionaires or politicians. It starts with people like you deciding that enough is enough. Now go. Document. Demand accountability. Change systems. The next Marcus Chen might just be you.